Good day, moneymakers! My name is Paul Duplessis, aka the EMS Guy. Welcome to this channel. When you're watching this video, that hopefully means you've watched the previous ones. Otherwise, make sure you click this link, watch the previous videos, and make sure to check out when new videos will be launched. It's going to be exciting. So today we're on the topic of the roles of government, the different levels, but specifically the roles of businesses and government to society. So let's dive in. Welcome, moneymakers! This is the video that we're going to talk about today, the roles of the government, and we're going to focus on one part of the businesses. So make sure you follow with me and as we're going through the presentation. So the first thing is we have to recap. Now this is some earlier work that we did. Can you still remember what is the main function of a government? You are correct if you said it's about making sure that there's legislation. What's the main function of a government? To make sure that there's legislation that will help or aid a business to make sure they're more productive in order to make jobs. Righto. So this is the main function of a government. Now, the government has got another function. Some businesses are just too big on such a scale to provide everything to the whole of South Africa. Just imagine you have one business and you have to supply the whole of South Africa with water. Now, to me, I get petrified at that thought, but that's why the government stepped in and they said, we've got this, don't worry, you can chill, we'll provide you with these essential goods and services. So we call them parastatal businesses, right? Eskom is one of them. Now, we're going to look at what happens if you do not maintain it properly a bit later. But Eskom is one of the biggest parastatals in South Africa. And it's another word is also SOEs. It's called state-owned enterprises. So we've got a minister in the cabinet that looks after these enterprises. Currently, it's Pravin Gordhan. And he's doing a fantastic job. Mr. Pravin, if you're watching this, good job. Right. How do they do it? How do they provide these essential goods and services? They have to get money, which we normally give them through taxes, right? There's a direct taxes, indirect taxes. This is going to be the next video. Make sure you watch. Do not miss out. It's going to be a boomer, okay? So they have to receive our taxes in order to that. But it's not the only function. Remember, businesses are there in a free market economy where the government has got some sort of role to play, but the businesses are there to be productive, to create jobs, to make sure that there's a sustainable way of going forward, not misusing resources, but they have to do it. It's not the government's role. So in essence, the government must make legislation, help businesses to exist, and they do it by collecting taxes. Right, there's another thing that the government does, and they usually says, okay, let's help small businesses. We can give them subsidies, right? That means they help business by giving them money to help them with a startup. Isn't that a cool initiative? Thumbs up, government. Good job. One other thing that they also do is they then help them with loans as well. So either you can qualify for a subsidy or you can qualify for a loan at a minimal interest, right? So the government really, this is part of the policies that they make to help businesses grow, be more sustainable, and actually render services to the public, which they should do. Can you see how our economy works? The one hand washes the other one. So then we talk about the specific legislation, right? And if the government focuses on the right legislation, they can actually help a business to be better. One of them is the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, right? So this says this is the bare minimum that you can pay your workers. This is the hours that they should work. This is their leave. And if they base their business on these principles, these rules, the legislation, then everyone will feel treated fairly, they'll feel respected. But if there's no rules, like I said in the previous video, if I just blow the whistle and say start and you have no idea what game it is, if the government has not created legislation, then people will be underpaid, they'll be overworked, therefore the government legislation. The next one is the Employment Equity Act. That means that every person standing next to each other is treated fairly and has got the same equal opportunities. You do not want to be discriminated based on anything that you are as a person, and that's why the government said, let's make a law to make sure everyone gets the same opportunities. The last one that I want to talk about is the Labour Relations Act. This is how it governs the relationship between an employer and an employee. And I'm talking about the professional relationship. So once you have a dispute or feel, I'm not treated fairly, there's actually a course of action that you can do. You can actually go up. After you visit the CCMA and try to sort it out internally, you can go up to the Labour Court and the Labour Court of Appeal so that they can hear your case. That's the government looking out for you. Then there's other legislations that we have to take note of. The Companies Act that says how can you form a company, what is a company, the Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment, Skills Development Act, National Credit Act, COIDA, the list goes on. We just have to know that the government really is making laws to help us. So, in conclusion, businesses have a role to play. The government has a role to play. And together, they've got a massive role to play, not just in order to provide goods and services, but essential goods and services to the consumers. Alright, and with the assistance of the governments by loans and subsidies, we can actually move forward. And how they do it, another function is with the laws. So I hope you got it. All the best. Let's shift our education.